I want to say, this is now the third time I'm filming this. Third time. You know why I filmed this 3 times now? You look at the title, Murphy's Law. This was in full effect. This is so bad. Now, I'm sure you're going to say, oh, it's because of Bully Ray. This show was awesome. No. I'm going to say this before I start reviewing this. Calm down. I'm going to do this for a fourth time. The reason that I'm doing this the way I am, where I'm going to tell you what was good about the show, what was bad, and why things should have been added, and afterward I'm going to destroy this show. I'm saying it now. I'm going to fucking destroy this show for what I saw. And I'm sure you're going to say, are you nuts? This was a great show. Really? If you watch the show, you know it was not. And I'll explain why at the end of this. I'm going to fucking destroy this show and still remind you I still love Impact. But I'm going to tell you the truth. If this is the first time you ever seen this, how you doing? But you're going to learn about this reviewer, that I give you honesty. I'm not kissing no one's ass. But I'm not doing this for ratings because I don't get any. I don't get huge amounts of views. I'm just telling you the truth of what went great with the show and how fucking bad it was. Let's go to the kickoff show. One of the major problem of this six-way X Division match. We had Rich Swann. We had Gunjar. We had Josh Hotch, and that's the guy from Gut Check, I believe. We had Kenny King. We had a Mike Bailey. I don't know if I'm missing anybody. I don't think I am. Oh, and Uemura. There you go. The one from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Very good match. It was a fine X Division match. But here's the problem. For the spectators who was watching and the people at home, did you know this was a #1 contendership match? No. You watch the entire show. They talk about whoever wins this is probably going to get a shot at the title. You never know what's going to happen in this company. You never know what's going to happen in the X Division. And when it was over, they announced it is now it was a #1 contendership match for X Division. Traditionally, if you don't know this, when you do a show, when you let the ring announcer speak, you tell him the entirety of the match. Not just to tell him a 6-way X Division match, a 6-way #1 contenders X Division match. That didn't happen. So I'm sure the people at home are the only ones who heard that this is a #1 contendership, because I'm sure the spectators that was there at Louisville, Kentucky didn't know. So that is a bad mark on them. Next, we get the Motor City Machine Guns going up against Bullet Club. A very good match. Now, the Motor City Machine Guns are the current New Japan Pro Strong inaugural tag champions. Great. Here's a problem. We never see anything of New Japan Pro Strong. If we're having the members of New Japan Pro Wrestling show up, wouldn't it have been good to see, at least on the regular show, to let people know, at least they can insert it into the 2-hour show because it is already recorded. You can put a 30-second or 10-second little clip to let people know at home that the Motor City Machine Guns of Shelley and Chris Sabin are now the New Japan Pro Strong members, and they also won the titles. It would have made it easier to know why are they holding titles. Yes, they said it, but did these titles go up for grabs? No. But they did have a segment in the back talking about it, and then the major players come out talking a little bit more on top of that. Now, was the opening with good matches? They were all right. Good. Let's move on to the main card. We get a tables match between Bully Ray and Moose. Now, I don't know about you, but when you watch this match, it didn't seem to flow very well between Moose and Bully Ray. It was not terrible, but it didn't flow very well. On top of that, both tables that were brought into the ring were broken within 30 seconds of being brought into the ring, and they were not cracked. The legs of both tables, one set of legs on one table, broke as it was being put into the ring. And I believe I got a shot of it. It's in my face. Another one was broke when it was just propped up on the ring rope and the turnbuckle. It didn't even last 10 seconds after it got moved into the ring. So both of them were broken. In fact, one table, the one that second one was brought in, it had to be hung on one of the ring ropes so it could stand. It was that bad. This match lasted maybe about 12 minutes. And in the end, Bully Ray won, and the beginning of the match was Bully Ray getting the nut shot, which he really sold a lot. I'm wondering if he really did get a little bit too much of a nut shot, because he was selling it a lot throughout the match. Now, Bully Ray is an old school type of style wrestler, so he's going to keep selling it compared to new style wrestlers who barely sell anything. They just go from one spot to another. I'm just saying, either he was really selling it, or he might have been nut shotted a little bit too much. I'm just saying. Now, the last rodeo between Mickie James and Taylor Wilde. Was this a good show between the two? Was this a great match? This was actually a very good match. At one point, Taylor Wilde started showing that she wanted to be more heelish, which she did. And in the end, when you see at least 15 to a 20, let's say about 10 to 15 minute match, easily more than 10 minutes, up to at least 15 minutes, you get Mickie James winning, barely. But then you got Deonna Purrazzo coming out, who faces the Mickie James, as you see them in my face. And you see 100% that Deonna's angry that Chelsea Green's not there because Mickie drove her away, and that she's mad at Mickie James on top of that because the only thing Mickie wants to be is the head of everything, wants it all to be about her. So she said she wants her. She's going to end her. Fine. There's no problem with that. We know that Mickey's going through the entire roster, so she has to face a Deonna Purrazzo eventually. It's got to happen. Now, we get what's next here. Number 4, the Major Players versus Heath Slater and Rhino. Now, if you saw the Motor City Machine Guns with titles beforehand and they don't say anything before they announce that they're the New Japan Pro Strong champions, you thought, wait a minute, why are they holding titles when it's Heath and Rhino? But it's obvious that is from New Japan Pro Strong. At least they were willing to say it. Now, was this a good match? It was an okay match. In fact, I think it could have opened the show. Let's be honest here. You could have switched the tables match for this. But I understand the reason why it was there, because Bully Ray was going to be seen at the end of the show. They wanted to get him away as quickly as possible. So if you're going to switch a match, you could have switched the Motor City Machine Guns match with Bullet Club for this, and they could have been there. Now, of course, not anybody's going to agree with that, because it's New Japan Pro Strong wrestlers and Impact wrestlers. I'm sure they're not too fond of seeing another promotion's tag champions, even though they are still signed with New Japan. Well, they're not signed. I believe they're just, well, I think they're probably signed to New Japan Pro Strong, or they're just affiliated with New Japan Pro Strong, and they're still mainly signed to Impact Wrestling. My mistake. It can be a little confusing the way these companies work with these people, because they'll let them hold their titles. They may have like a loose contract. You may not believe this, but some promotions will have a kind of a loose contract where essentially you can work in different promotions and hold different titles, like Impact Wrestling. That's how they set up their contracts. They make it a lot more open. That's also a major issue with Impact, which I'll get to at the end of this review. Counting if I'm not so angry, I forget to say this. But I believe they could have switched them. Was the match okay? It was fine. Then we get, and this is where it gets interesting, then we get the Motor City Machine Guns near the end of the match come out. Because the match was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't like the Motor City Machine Guns and Bullet Club with Ace and Chris Bay. They were alright. But once the Motor City Machine Gun, I will say this, seeing that they tried to use the chairs and Motor City Machine Guns to nail a Rhino or Heath, failed, made you realize that now This is going to be not about Rhino and Heath dealing with the major players. They're going to be Modus and Machine Guns dealing with the major players. That's the way it looks. Does it mean it's going to be good TV? Probably. Because when it comes to Heath and Rhino, they don't show them often at all. This is very rare we ever see them on the main show. If they're on BTI, that's another thing entirely. Now, the X Division's final match. Now, this is where I had only one thought in my head. Black Taurus had to win. Because we've seen too much of Trey Miguel. That's the truth. As a face, Trey Miguel has been pushed so much, he's a detriment to the X Division. That's what I knew. And they had to strip it off him. Well, not strip it off him, but basically if he wanted, they should have never done it. They needed to move away from him. They need to just strip him from the X Division, put him into the main title picture, or the Digital Media Championship. He needs to be separated from that damn title. Because no matter how much, and understand, the reason Trey is so active in the X Division is because how important it was. And that he lost his mother and his grandmother during the time he's been working Impact. And I believe they want to make sure he understands we value you. That's the reason why he's probably been given this title again. And as the match went on, it was a very good match. I am taking nothing away from Trey. And I want to make it clear, I never hated Trey. This has been Impact booking. They want him to maintain that title and stay in the title picture because they know how he's already really cared about in the X Division, but they're also doing it because of his grandmother and his mother. There's no way they're not doing it. They are. That's a favor to him for what he's gone through. But I didn't want him to have it. Not because I hate him. Not because he doesn't deserve it because his mom and grandmother died. No, it's because he's been overexposed too much as a face. There was nothing more for him to do except one thing that I didn't think about that they did, which was the best option for him. If they want to keep that title on him, the only option they had was to turn him heel. And that's what they did. They turned him heel. They let him take that very spray can that he make-believes that he sprays, and he actually sprays something in Black Taurus' face, and he wins the title. Good. They've now gone in a different direction with Trey Miguel. That if they didn't, I would have ranted my ass off, because as it stands right now, we got two guys, that have been in the X Division for so long that needed to leave. That's Dorado Kid and Black Taurus. They've done nothing with Dorado Kid, literally. When he was working with Angel Garza from NXT days, he literally, and he wasn't in NXT, I'm not saying Dorado Kid was, I'm just saying when he was in NXT, he went by the name Angel Garza. Only thing I'm saying is that from that time, I think that was 2015 or 16, Dorado Kid has been around. I could be wrong. It could be a little less than that. Maybe 2017. Maybe 17 or 18. He's been with the company. I think about 16 to 17 that he joined the company. I could be wrong about the time. Don't quote me. But they've done nothing with him. He's never won a tag match. He hasn't won no tag titles. He's never won the X Division title. He's gone through every title they have had. When they had the, what was it? I think it was a little before him. When it came to the Grand Championship, the Impact Grand Championship. I don't think he was there at that time. But they let him go at every title. And clearly he's never done anything. The same with Black Taurus. I was like, if Black Taurus doesn't win, he needs to leave. And to be honest, he does. Black Taurus needs to leave. He needs to leave. What are they doing with him? I don't remember Black Taurus or Crazy Steve has ever won a tag championship. They've come close, but I don't remember if they have. They probably have, but I don't remember. It's been so long. And they've used Black Taurus to get everyone else over, but Black Taurus has gained nothing. I'm just saying. Moving on. Next, we get, let's see, the last Knockout Standings match, which was the best match of the night. I'm saying it again.
It was the best match of the night.
Flat out, no ifs, ands, or buts. The third best match was Black Taurus and was easily Trey. Fourth would be the Motor City Machine Guns and Bullet Club. But this was number one. Flat out the best match that we had. 100%. And I'm sure people would say, you see? Look, you even agree. When it comes to Marsha Slamovich, she's amazing. It's not about Marsha. I never said Marsha was a bad wrestler. I did say she tended to tank a bit, but I never said she couldn't wrestle. Never. Once, just in case you think I was saying that. I said it was bad booking. Flat out, bad booking. And guess what? Exactly what I said months ago when it came to Marsha has now to fruition. Flat out, we knew Marsha was going to have a great match at Bound for Glory, which she did. Here, she had a great match with a Jordan Grace. Looked beastly here. Fine. She did everything she needed to do. She focused on her knee, and that is Marsha Slamovich. They basically beat the living hell out of each other. At one point, Marsha Slamovich was put through, well, not a table, a door, and 2 chairs. I believe I got a shot of that. That's in my face. Where she basically was, I believe she tried to do a reverse slam. I can't remember what it was. And she splatted her and exploded the chair. Very well done. I'm not surprised how good the match was. You got a good Jordan Grace, and you got a decent to very good Marsha Slamovich. But,
And I say this clearly again,
and I'm sure many people who watch this have never seen me before do not understand what I've said for many months. When Marsha came in, they booked her incorrectly. Yes, they made her dominant, but they never made her into Goldberg. Ever. She was not seen in the back. She was not made to be feared by everyone in the back. And the way they booked her when they did finally let her interact with people, because the only thing she did, counting on when they had to stop using her music because of the Ukraine war with Russia, they let her destroy any jobber they were able to get on the show. And that's it. There were never any backstage segments where she scared people like Goldberg did, or just sat there and just was there. What made Goldberg destructive wasn't just about he went to the ring, destroyed people, and then disappeared. He destroyed people, and then periodically they would show him with other people. They would pick fights with him, or he would pick a fight and didn't even need to say anything much. Either you're next, or bring it. That's all they needed to do with Marsha. Let her be seen in the back with other people, as well destroy indie wrestlers, and they never did it. Not once. And that destroyed her persona. She's supposed to be the new Goldberg, then you should have treated her like one. Let her be seen in the back, let her be seen in the ring, let people fear her. And what did they do to make her be feared? They didn't. The only thing she did was hand out envelopes with pictures crossed off in it and made it look dumb. So what did we get in this match? A very good, like I said, very good match, but here's the problem, which was a lose-lose situation for Marsha. I expected Marsha to lose here, flat out. I didn't expect her to win, and she didn't. But let's say that she did win. Let's say Marsha did win this match. I want to make this clear, just in case people say, if she had won, it would have been great. No, it wouldn't have. You want to know why it wouldn't have been great for Marsha if she won at Overdrive?
because she had the chance at Bound for Frickin' Glory.
Tell me I'm wrong. If you wanted to make Marsha, and remember, Marsha started October 2021. It has been a year, nearly a year when she came into the company. If you truly believed in Marsha Slamovich, you could have set up a match between her and Jordan Grace well before Bound for Glory. Have that type of situation and then give Marsha the win there. If she had won at Overdrive, would have been a joke. because that doesn't mean they ever believed in her. So now what do we get? And I know people are going to say, well, it doesn't hurt her. She's going to be fine. Really? Didn't we get that from Killer Cross years ago? When he was dominant, but then he started losing and people said, oh, don't worry, he's fine. He isn't going to lose anything. And they just let him go. What about W. Morrissey? Same thing. What happened with Brian Cage? Same thing. What happened with all these great wrestlers, male and female alike, and they come in dominant? And guess what? They get two really great matches, lose, and then they do the slide and then disappear. So Marsha's next. Guess who's next for her to go up against? That has to eventually be. And that's Mickie James. I expect it now. I didn't expect that she would go up against Jordan again. I expected it was going to be Mickie. That was my mistake. But in the end,
This is what you get.
the best match of the night, that was a lose-lose for Marsha in the long run. Now, let's get to the final match of the night. Kaz versus Josh Alexander. If people hate Josh, I guess I can't convince you of anything and I'm not going to. But they had a 40-minute match where you see a good wrestler in a Josh Alexander versus a great wrestler and Frankie Kazarian. There is a difference between a 15-year vet and an over 20-year vet. Josh looked good, but Kaz looked great. And understand, it was, and I know that Bully Ray was eventually going to be the final situation for Josh Alexander, but, and I'm saying this, if Bully Ray does not beat him, and I will get to the ending, but if Bully doesn't beat Josh Alexander, this was the best chance they had for Impact Wrestling to have something entirely new. Totally new. If they had allowed Kaz to win. Because after that performance, if they are not really going to go with Bully Ray as the next champ and they're just going to keep letting Josh win, they made a serious mistake and they should let Josh win. Not win. Because Kaz should have won here. The crowd was well behind him, even though they weren't very loud. And this was an exceptionally good match. At one point, we get Josh having to spit out his own mouthpiece because he supposedly got laid out so hard. Now, we did get one moment of weakness from Kaz because he did grab the Impact Wrestling title when the ref got nailed. And because that's what happened, the ref got nailed by a flying forearm from Kaz. Well, near the end of the match. Then, once they spilled out onto the floor, Kaz was the first one up. Josh was still stunned. And Kaz goes over to grab the title. And I believe I got a shot of it. It's in my face. If not, I'm sorry. Basically, this is when he had to decide if he's going to lay him out or not. And it's Josh's wife who's begging him not to do it. He said, beat him right. And even though Kaz's own family is at home, he listens to Josh's wife. He does. Puts the title back, throws Josh back into the ring, and they continue at least another 10 minutes. Because by then, it's almost 30 minutes. In the end, Josh does the C4 spike, and it's over. And that's what I expected. I'm telling you right now, I believe I said that in my Impact review. I don't expect... No, I didn't say it. My mistake. I kept it a secret. I didn't want to say it. I knew Kaz wasn't going to win, even though he should win. I knew Kaz was not going to win. Even though Impact should have let him win like an Alex Shelley, but he didn't want to go there. So when this was all over, Kaz had his moment. People cheered for him. Then Bully Ray comes out. Bully Ray gets into the ring and says, look, as I told you. Well, first he says, guys, this is true pro wrestling. I will pick you any day of the week over anyone in any promotion. But then he said, as I told you when I first came here, went through the gauntlet and won. I would come to you. I would tell you when I'm going to do it, face to face, look in the eye, shake your hand. And he said, hard to kill, I will face you. Shake my hand and it'll be official. They shake hands. Bully Ray acts like he's going to leave. Josh gets out of the ring, going over to his wife, and basically gets blasted by Bully Ray, which everyone warned him Bully Ray was going to turn on him. He said he never trusted him, but in the end, he shook his hand. And then once the first chair shot came, the second chair shot, well, we got about 4 or 5 chair shots to Josh's back. Then Bully Ray decides, after he chair shot the crap out of him, he went, got a twist tie from his pants. I don't know why he put it in there. Zipped him. I believe I got a shot. That's in my face. And then he goes over to, once again, pick up the chair. Looks like he's about to hit Josh. But then he drops it, grabs Josh's wife, threw her out of the area, and was about to pile drive her onto the floor. This is where it gets into... No, that's a little before that. Sorry. A little before that. He got zip tied. I'll tell you this. Seeing that Bully Ray went that far to make Josh do whatever he wanted. He said, don't move. I'm going to pile drive your wife into the pavement. Then he told him to get his title. Then he told him to walk over and hand it to him. Then he said, here. Then he grabbed the chair and he said, don't move. You move, I will nail her. There's no way I will miss. Do you know who I am? Don't move. Then eventually dropped the chair, walked away, made his point that he can get whatever the hell he wants. Was that section of that, well, was it effective? Hell yes, it was. To see that that was that well done by a professional wrestler. Guys, understand. When it comes to old school wrestlers, like a Bully Ray, they understand how to read the crowd. Unlike current wrestlers right now who are very strong in the high flying and high impact and fast pace, they do not understand how to read the crowd and then how to manipulate the crowd to be whatever they want, either to be angry, to be sad, to be happy, or scared. Current wrestlers don't know how to do that very well, or they don't care about wanting to do that very well. They want a very fast-paced wrestling match with almost no story. He knew how to do it. So that is why Bully Ray did such an amazing job, which will be recognized by some of the wrestling websites, I'm sure. Maybe NoDQ.com will pick this up and say that Overdrive was a great show, particularly the ending with Bully Ray intimidating and threatening Josh Alexander's wife. Now, this is the end of the review. Was this a good show? If you looked at the general matches, it was a good show. If you looked at how the segments of each match was done, it was very good. The Knockout Standings match was the best match of the night. The best segment of the night was Bully Ray. The second best match of the night was Kaz and Josh. The third best match would be easily Trey as well as Black Taurus. And the last match of that would be the Motor City Machine Guns and the Too Sweet of the Bullet Club. That would make a good show. But as I said in the very opening of this show, of this review, that I was going to basically destroy it, because I am. I had to actually stop the camera because my camera has a feature of only running for 30 minutes. I had to stop it because I'm going to basically destroy this show. And it's not because the wrestling was bad, the last segment was bad. Nope. None of that. Were there some average matches? Yes. But were there some exceptional matches? Yes. But that means
Nothing.
fucking nothing. When you look at this match, I'm getting angry again. I don't want to redo this. When you look at this show, it was destroyed. Guys, if you know me for years, easily more than a year, I have been stating that Impact Wrestling has a major problem. And it's not the wrestlers. It is management. When you look at this show, what did we get? We got bad audio work for the commentary team. Their audio kept cutting in and out after the second match. You got bad audio work for the video packages. They were echoing like crazy. When the theme music for each wrestler came out, in most cases, there was such high volume and we're clipping. Then, the interview. When it came to Bully Ray's interview, guess what happened? His audio was clipping. When you saw the Motor City Machine Guns with the Bullet Club and major players, most of that was clipping on and off. Then worse yet, when you see, I believe I got a picture of Gia. She's in my face. No, with Bully Ray. With Bully Ray and her. You see that in my face. That was okay, even though the sound was bad. But guess what happens afterward? That happened. A heavy delay with no music playing, nothing, no switching. It was just her, and I believe I have the picture of her. I'll put it right there. She was just standing there waiting for the camera to switch to the ring, and there was no switch, and that was up to at least 6 to 8 or 10 seconds. I couldn't even count it. I'm enraged at this point. And then the camera work. We get either camera work where they're zooming in like this, like I've always said. But get this. You get them, not even, you can see that one of the cameramen literally didn't care anymore. He was holding the camera like this most of the time. You see the other cameraman on and off seeing this guy supposedly like this, and he's going like this. Not this. This. I could not believe how bad management has run this. Either we saw asses in most cases, either we had huge zoom-ins like this, which gives nothing for the wrestlers to work with. Understand. And this is what people don't get, because I know that the Louisville crowd was fine with it. And understand, Louisville crowd was not loud. And I know people are going to say, dude, there are images on Twitter where these people are screaming, yelling. It means nothing to people at home. Remember, they only get a certain amount of money from the people in the arena. Where do you think they get the rest of their money?
Fucking people like us who is watching it
on the app or the Ultimate Insider. What did we get? We got bad camera work, bad audio work, cameramen who looked like they didn't even give a damn what they were doing. We get backstage segments that had echoes, vid packs that had echoes. We had the current, calm down. We had our interviewer standing for maybe 6 to 10 seconds, just waiting for the camera to switch, and she couldn't move. She just, like that. What was that? That isn't Bush League, ladies and gentlemen. Understand. GCW is Bush League. They've been trying to build up into something, but they focus everything about Nick Gage. They're going to learn a lesson that sooner or later they got to go away from Nick, because Nick is not going to be able to do forever. If he's not killed while doing his matches, they will eventually have to move away from him. They will learn a lesson, how they structured their show. MLW has always had issues, bad camera work, bad audio work, and they didn't even have a women's division. No matter if they came back and went away, won, and then came back again. Not until recently they have a women's division where Taya Valkyrie was their first women's lightweight champion. But I can say, at least with those companies, there's an understanding. GCW has been around for a while, but they only just rebranded themselves and trying to focus around somebody who loves death matches, who's known for death matches. MLW only came back in 2015, I believe, or 16. And they've been trying to rebuild themselves. And I'm not even saying they're even good yet, because I still haven't watched it. I have no time. But at least what little I saw, at least they were trying. And they were messing up a lot, but they were trying. Impact Wrestling. 20 years. 20 freaking years. And most of those people are still there. Not every person who started up in TNA is there, who was an executive producer, who is running production, who's running cameras, who's running lighting, who set up the ring, who was part of the team that took care of the talent when they get injured, like the trainers. I'm not saying they're all there, but there are a few that still are there, that have influence and made this show, which is understandable. What I'm saying here, we are talking about a paid subscription. We're not talking about just a regular pay-per-view where you pay $30, $40, or $50. We're talking about a paid subscription where you pay between $5 to $10 or $12, counting where you are in the world. Not in America, the world. It depends where you are. How much does it cost to have the app and you have to pay whatever you got to pay from your own country? We're talking about people paying good money for that. Great wrestling. 4 matches that were great. A ending segment with Bully Ray that might actually make a little bit of interest. But with the worst production I've seen. Again, in the last year. They have had, how many times have they had bad shows? 12. 12 shows where either the camera work was not working, the audio wasn't working, the lighting had an issue, backstage segments were not done right, or worse, booking wasn't good. 12 easily shows from this year. 12 shows, not 1, not 2, but at least 12. 12. And I'm sure if you look back in the catalog of videos I've done, unfortunately you can't do like how it used to be where you can just do the oldest videos, now recent and popular is all there is. But if you start scrolling back throughout the year, I'm sure you'll notice that I said there was always some issue with the regular show or the Impact Plus shows because I've done them. I say 12 shows easily that have been garbage. And this, again, you get good wrestling to great wrestling with a good ending that will make possible waves, and you have such bad production. Why would people watch you? Why would people watch on the Impact on the Fight app? Why would people watch on the Ultimate Insiders if you cannot get your management to do the proper job to make sure your lighting works, your audio works, your camera work is correct, the people who run production is great? This sucks. I have been doing this for 10 years. One of the first videos I did next to WWE has been Impact Wrestling, TNA. I still love the damn company. They got some of the best people there who wrestle their asses off. Sometimes they're off. Sometimes it doesn't always work. But it's not their fault. What is management doing? Tell me how you feel. I'm sure many people are going to say, dude, you're not seeing it. People say it was a great show. Look at the show yourself. Look at when audio was bad, when camera work was bad, when there was glitching, when you see Gia just standing there waiting. That isn't the first time that's happened. Peace.